Hello, what I want to talk to you guys today about is what it's like life after having cancer. So I have been cancer free now for over 5 years. So my last lot of treatment was when I was 20. I am now 25 years old. So I guess it's important to say that there is no right way and there is no wrong way to kind of deal with everything that goes on when you're going through treatment. Everybody's going to handle it differently, and then everybody is also going to handle the aftermath differently. Like I remember people would be like, oh, you're not sick anymore, why aren't you doing this? Or, why aren't you going out into the world and doing this and this? Um, Going through treatment was kind of the easy part, I guess you could say, because everything was dictated for me. Doctor's appointments, checkups, and when I was doing the iodine treatment, even what you ate, everything was just set up for you. So I did 2 lots of the iodine treatment, and then the doctor's appointments, and just all the checkups, trying to get the thyroxine right, just everything. For 2 straight years it was just so regimented for me. And then of course when I turned 21, I got told I wouldn't need treatment anymore and that everything would be fine. You know, you get told, go out and start living life, and everything's going to be fine. We'll see you again in 5 years for a follow-up checkup. And that went well. But it's really scary, I think, when you kind of have had everything really done for you, or your life becomes like a stop button. Like everything just revolves around that one thing, and that's getting better. And then when you get told you are better, you don't really know how to go on from it. Well, at least I didn't. I just became so scared to do anything. I remember, I went to TAFE to do this course I've been wanting to do, and I just fell apart doing it. Like I tried my hardest, but I just had such fear and anxiety about everything that was going on. Even when they told me that I was going to be okay and that I was in remission and things, like every single time I would get a swollen throat or sick or anything, I would book an appointment with my GP right away, just because I was so scared that I wasn't going to be okay. I think people look at my husband, and we met right after I got the all clear that I wouldn't need any more treatment. People, I think he got the easy part, but he's had to deal with a number of years of the ups and downs with the thyroid medication, and just the anxieties that I've had, and just a lot of the struggles that kind of come. The thyroxine is a huge part of it, I know, because the levels can be good for like 6 weeks, and then they can be bad, and it's such a huge guessing game. And then dealing with weight gain, and the hot and cold flushes and things. There is just no right or wrong way of going through it. I remember they had offered therapy if I wanted it, and I didn't take the therapy because for me, I felt like the cancer I had, so I had thyroid cancer, and the treatments, and it wasn't as bad as other people, and I thought that I would go in there and people would be like, why is she here? I didn't lose my hair, and I didn't struggle a lot with it. It was more mental. I struggled with it. I was a teenager, and it really wasn't anything that I was expecting to happen to me. I had lived a really healthy life, and and then on a regular old checkup, that happens. So yeah, it's just your life kind of just stops for a while, and then trying to get it to start again, it's difficult. Like even now, I feel like I've got such anxiety about a lot of things. Like I don't drive. I don't know why. I've just got such a fear of it. You know, and my husband is so encouraging with it and things, but it's just one of those things. I just kind of feel like, even though I'm only 25, I feel stupid for not having it, but then I have such anxiety about going and doing the test and failing, and it is the oddest feeling. And then I'm a parent now, and I remember every month that we didn't get pregnant, is it my fault? Am I the reason why it's not happening? Is it because I was sick? Is it because of the treatments I had? And then when we had our daughter, she was premature, and it's the same thing. Was it my fault? Was it because I had treatment? Am I the reason that something's wrong? Even though I know things like that, it's nobody's fault. It's just the way God plans things. But in the back of my mind, it was always, is everything that's happening with her, is it because of me? Maybe that's just a mother thing. I really don't know. But people that I talk to, they're like, well, you're 5 years since everything happened, what's it like? And I'm like, well, in a way it feels like it's never happened because it was such a long time ago. But then in other areas of life, when I do get sick or when things like that happen, it's like you don't know how to deal with things like that. Sometimes I feel like I'm still that 17-year-old kid sitting in a waiting room being told the news, that something's wrong, but we don't know what's wrong. And then, when I was 19, finally figuring out what was wrong, that's like 2 years of your life of going through testing, and then a further 2 years of life going through treatment and things. It takes up a big chunk. And I think from 17 to 20, they're like very big years of your life. When you're making milestones, you're getting your driver's license, you're finishing school, you're really figuring out what you want to do with your life. And I think when you miss those years, it does set you back quite a bit, because you don't know how to move on. And when you try to do things that you would have done, in your late teens, early 20s, and you are trying to figure it out now, when I'm over that, like I'm 25, and people look at you like, isn't that so childish? Why don't you have things like that? Like, I know people talk about work. When I got married, it was never a plan for me to work. We always wanted to start a family. And I guess in this day and age, people don't get that. But, the reason I didn't work, but really before I got married, and then even before we had children, it's just because I had such anxiety about it. Like, I didn't know what it was. I was having panic attacks. And like, even trying with courses or university or things, I just couldn't do it. And I don't really know why. I think maybe it was just because when I would start things, going through the process, when I was going through treatment and the processes of going through that, I'd start things and then I'd get so overwhelmed and just tired, and then I'd have to stop doing it, and then I'd look back and see that it was such a waste of money or things like that, and then you just feel like the biggest failure. Even though I had a lot of things going on, people don't see it that way. They would just look at it as it's just another thing that person's failed at. And now as a mum and things like that, I want to be an example for my daughter. But in order to do that, I guess you see, you are going to fail at things, because everybody fails at things. And I really want to move on from life and just stop living or trying to relive what I should have done in those years between 17 and 20, because you can't get that time back. And you really just have to move on with your life, and stop living in the fear of everything coming back on you. Like, stop living in the fear that you're going to get sick again, and stop living with just a cloud of worry, even when it comes to failing, or when it comes to just things that could go wrong. And I don't think unless people have had a serious illness or things can really understand just how much it kind of mentally puts you back. Like I think it probably took like maybe 3 months for it to really kick in, you know, that something was wrong. Like I think it was after my second operation that it kicked in that I had cancer and that it was a part of my life, and that, you know, even though I was going to get through it and beat it, it just, because you never think it's going to happen to you or to someone you care about. And then I never really expected how long mentally it would take me to get over it. You know, I think about it now and I think that it happened to another person, but then why aren't I progressing in areas that I want to progress in, if that makes sense? Like, I see other people and they've been sick and they've just gotten on with their lives and they've been able to move on so easily. It's like it's never affected them. You know, I know a lot of people, you know, who have been sick and they're thriving in their life, and I don't know why I wasn't able to. Maybe it's because, you know, they sought the counseling or therapy, but I didn't. But I guess just everybody's different, and everybody is going to deal with things differently. How they deal with massive things that happen in life, whether it be sickness or just life changes in general. I don't think there's one right way, and I don't think that there is one wrong way. You know, we are all living the life that God has dealt us, and it's up to us to make the most of what He's given us. You know, 2020 was a huge shock for me, and I think it was a huge shock. It was a huge shock for the whole world. You know, we moved to a different state. We started a family. 2021, our daughter was born. You know, we're looking at buying a house. You know, people look at it and they see, oh, you're progressing so much in your life and you've done so much. You know, but it never feels like it's enough, if that makes sense. Like, because people are always like, well, you've been given a second chance, or you've been given this, what are you doing with it? You know, you're living like an average person. Like, I've never seen what's wrong with living like an average person. You know, we don't all have to be some, you know, celebrity on the pages of the magazines, or some Instagram star or things like that. You know, there's nothing wrong with just living the slow life that God has chosen for us to live, and that could be helping one person, that could be helping millions. It's all about doing the work He's given us, and being an encouragement to other people. And, you know, I think that that's why I really wanted to start doing things like this, or, you know, because I'm very introverted. You know, that was even before treatment and things like that. So it's difficult for me to kind of help people in the way I want to help them, because I get so nervous being around other people, and I want to talk to people and just give them advice, I guess, and just show that there is always a rainbow at the end of the storm. And, you know, that is something that God has promised us. After every storm, there's a rainbow. And life, even though we might not understand it when we're moving forward, we always understand it looking back. And I understand now, looking back on it, you know, why God put those barriers and why He did things. You know, I look back at the way my life was going when I was a young teenager, and I wasn't living the best for Him, and I wasn't kind of doing what I should have been doing. And when I got sick and when I was going through all of that, it really changed me and kind of transformed me. I love being a wife and a mother, and it's really all I've ever wanted to be. And I think the road I was going down, I don't think I would have made a good wife, and I don't think I would have made a very good mother. You know, I was very self-centered, and I kind of wanted my life to go the way I wanted it to, and it didn't matter as long as I kind of got what I wanted. That was the way I was as a teenager. And then now, of course, when you're married and when you have children, you've got to constantly be pouring yourself into other things. Like my daughter takes up a lot of time keeping house, making sure everything is good. It's a lot of work, and I think that those few years of being sick and people was thinking that I was procrastinating or not doing things, and when I guess I was failing by the world standards, like I said, you know, not passing TAFE, and whenever I've tried to do something by how the world wanted me to, I guess you could see it as failing because I just couldn't do it. It didn't make sense for me. You know, whether it be TAFE courses or university, whatever it was, I would fail at it and I would feel like a loser and I would feel stupid, and because people just wouldn't get it. They would always say, you've been given the second chance, you're blowing it. But looking at it, I wasn't blowing it. I was just not succeeding in what the world wanted. God was putting up barriers because I wasn't supposed to succeed in those things. You know, I feel so blessed, so privileged to be at home, taking care of my husband and my children and my house. Those are the things that I can see every day excelling in. And I guess I just want to bring comfort that, you know, if you're going through sickness or treatment or whatever, don't cope with it the way the world tells you you're supposed to handle things. You know, cope with it and handle it the way you feel it's best for you, especially after you come out of it. Do what is best for you, whether it be maybe seek therapy, maybe go on a holiday, you know, maybe just go to the beach and every single day, or go for a walk, things like that that help you out. It doesn't mean that you've got to go and quit your job and travel around Europe. If you want to do that, go ahead, but do the things that make you happy. And life, you're always getting second chances, and it's always amazing every single day if you make it amazing. You know, it could just be sitting on your bed drinking a hot cup of coffee in the morning. That could be the thing that makes your day amazing. What I'm trying to get at is that when we get given a second chance, or when we get given whatever God has given us to do, other people might not understand it, but that doesn't really matter as long as you understand it and you're happy with it. Because at the end of the day, whether it's a failure or a lesson learned, or however you want to look at it, we're all just living the life the best we know how to. And I guess that's the thing I have learned the most in the last 5 years of just trying and failing. Is really and what I mean by that, I guess, is that I failed in what the world thinks I should have done after going into remission, but I feel like I have succeeded in what God has wanted me to do and what He has called me to do, and I think that is more important than anything else. And I guess that's really all I wanted to say. I think we need to just live our life the way that it best suits what God's telling us to do, and how we want to just be happy in it. And we can't live by what other people tell us to do or by the world's standards. We just need to live by our own and what makes us happy.